Hey everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here with another Master Duel video for you guys today. In this one, we're going to be taking yet another look at Prank-Kids. However, this time, instead of looking at specifically the deck or some games, we are going to be looking at the combos for the deck. That's right, this is going to be the Prank-Kids combo guide video. This is one that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, because I saw, especially in comments like in the last season's Prank-Kids videos I did, people were asking for the Prank-Kids combo guides because this deck is one of those decks where the combos aren't readily apparent by reading the cards, unlike something kind of like Sword Souls where you can read them and just generally figure out, oh, okay, it's you know, you just summon the monster, make the token, go into the next monster, that makes the token. It's pretty self-explanatory, but Prank-Kids, you look at it on the surface and it's not, you're kind of like, wait, how am I supposed to go into this Butler or like a Link 4? What's going on here? But don't worry, we've got the combo guide here to kind of help you out with that. So this is the build that I showed off in the profile, I believe either yesterday or a few days ago, just depending on when that video came out. And it's the build we're going to be using for this combo guide as well. No changes obviously have been made in the, well, in the no amount of time, because I just finished recording the profile video at the time I'm recording this. So, yeah, this is the deck I'm going to use to show off these combos, although again, there are other combos you can actually do if you're playing like polymerization. That actually does enable some plays there. To be totally honest though, I've not really tried polymerization. I don't really feel the need to. I just don't feel like the combo is necessary to have in the deck. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but I just don't find it necessary. And looking at other Prank-Kids lists from the last season or two, we just really don't see that much polymerization running around, and I think that's kind of indicative of how the card is. So again, it's fine. I'm not saying it's bad in the deck. Prank-Kids is one of those decks where you can tech a whole bunch of different options. Like you could also play Skill Drain in this deck if you wanted to, but I'm just sticking with a build that's a little bit more, I don't know if traditional is the right word, but that's just kind of using the most frequently used and also most powerful cards for the deck, as opposed to branching into some tech options, which again I'm not opposed to, but yep, here is the list here. I don't really think I need to go through it card by card, because again, we're not talking about the list as a whole or playing games. We're just going to be looking at some combos here. So I guess there's really no need for me to keep rambling on any further. You're here for the combos, so let's just go ahead and get straight into them. Okay, so this is going to be the first combo we show you. This is going to be like the very basic one card combo. Now, as always with the combo guides, you know, even though this hand opened multiple Prank-Kids monsters and a Monster Reborn, and there's a whole bunch of stuff we could do with it, let's just play assuming that this, we'll do Dropsies. Let's assume this Prank-Kids Dropsies is the only live card in our hand. All the other cards are like hand traps or something. So, again, this is like the one card quote-unquote combo. We're going to normal summon our Prank-Kids monster, Dropsies for us in this case, and we're then going to immediately summon into, or link summon rather, into Prank-Kids Meow Meow Moo. I'm going to go ahead and put it right there. And that will trigger the Dropsies effect because we sent it to the graveyard as a material for the fusion or link, in this case summon of a Prank-Kids monster. We're going to gain 1,000 life points and, more importantly, summon a Prank-Kids monster from the deck. Now, typically, if the first monster you summoned wasn't Fansies, you're gonna want the if you didn't normal summon Fansies, you're gonna want to make Fansies the second card you get out. Just going into it sooner rather than later is typically ideal. Now that we have the two monsters on the field here, we're going to go into Prank-Kids Doodle Doodle Doo. One thing to remember with the Prank-Kids monsters is that you can only summon another Prank-Kids out of the deck with them if you use them for the summon of a Prank-Kids monster. So if we went into like Vert Anaconda, for example here, then Fansies would not get a Prank-Kids monster out of the deck. We have to go into a Prank-Kids monster. So we're going to go into Doodle Doodle Doo using the Fansies and the Meow Meow Moo. We'll go ahead and put that right there. And chain blocking is very, very important for this deck because this deck can get pretty easily wrecked by Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring and a variety of other hand trap and disruption effects. So we want to do Fansies as chain link 1, and then Doodle Doodle Doo is chain link 2. Remember, chain links resolve backwards. The way I like to remember it is first in, last out. The first effect you clicked is going to be the last one that resolves. So the first one that you click is the one that you're going to want to chain block there. Alright, so Doodle Doodle Doo is going to let us add a Prank-Kids spell, I believe, or trap, but we only have spells in here. We're going to add Prank-Kids Pranks. Again, for the one card combo here, we're going to add Prank-Kids Pranks at this time. And then we get Fansies effect. With Fansies, we get to send to the graveyard and then summon. One very common mistake, and one that I honestly make all the time still myself, is to assume that I'm summoning a monster here and click on the one I want to summon, and then I end up sending it instead. Sometimes it doesn't matter, but sometimes it really can, so try not to do that in general. Here specifically, in order to continue the combo, we do want to send Pandemonium to the graveyard. And then we're going to summon a monster to the field. We can go ahead and do Lampsies, since we've already done Dropsies and Fansies there. Alright, now we're going to activate our Dodo Doodle Doo's effect. We're going to tribute itself to add 2 Prank-Kids cards back from our graveyard to our hand. We definitely want to grab that Pandemonium we just sent, and then it doesn't particularly matter for the other one. Let's just go ahead and get Fansies, why not? Alright, now we get to go ahead and activate our Prank-Kids Pranks here. And we'll use the effect. We're going to discard that Prank-Kids monster that we just added back with Dodo Doodle Doo, which was a Fansies in our case. And then we'll summon the Prank-Kids token just right over here, sure. Now we're going to go into our second Dodo Doodle Doo here using the token and the Lampsies. It might seem a little weird to go into our second Dodo Doodle Doo, but we actually need to do this in order to ensure that we set up all of the materials in our graveyard that we need to in order to set up the Bow Wow Bark into the Battle Butler here. That's what we're ultimately going for this combo, is to set up a Battle Butler during our opponent's turn. Alright, we're definitely going to activate the Lampsies effect, burn our opponent for 500 here, and then summon our last Prank-Kids that we haven't used yet, which is going to be Rocksies. Important thing to note for Rocksies is that if you want to summon a card out of the deck, you do have to banish a card from your hand and then draw before you can do that. So if you want to use Rocksies effect, just make sure you have a card in your hand to banish there. So now that we have the Rocksies and now the Doodle Doodle Doo out, now we can go into our Bow Wow Bark using the Rocksies and aforementioned Doodle Doodle Doo. We'll go ahead and put Bow Wow Bark right over there. And then we'll go ahead and activate Roxy's effect. You just banish, sure, this other Rocksies, why not? And then we'll draw a card. Always nice if you can draw extra hand traps off of that and like pranks and stuff, so yeah, we're going to special summon a monster to the field. So from this point on, we're not going to be using our effect monsters to summon because we've already used all of them. Generally speaking here, it's a good idea to put Fansies out on the board because Fansies has the most defense at 2,000. It can make a pretty decent wall. So now all we need to do is set our Prank-Kids Pandemonium, and now we are all set up for our Battle Butler. And I'll actually show you how we then go into Battle Butler, because that is going to be an extension of this combo. It's funny, this is actually a lot like, you know, going into Tri-Brigade Revolt, setting that up and then using it on your opponent's turn. It's one of the reasons I say this deck plays very similarly to Tri-Brigades. So yep, now we can go ahead and move to the end phase. Another nice little bonus here is that because of Prank-Kids Pranks, we get to shuffle some stuff back in order to draw a card. However, you do want to be extremely mindful of what you shuffle back. You need between your field, hand, and graveyard to have 1 Fansies, 1 Lampsies, and 1 Dropsies in order to make Battle Butlers. So we have a Fansies on the field, so we can put the one in our graveyard back. Let's go ahead and put back one of our 2 Doodle Doodle Doos. Actually very important to make sure we have it for next turn. And then we'll put back a Roxy's to keep going into lines next turn. Generally speaking, if you've done the same setup I have, where you end on with a Fansies on board, these are the 3 you're going to want to put back during the end phase here. These 3 specifically. Again, just making sure that we have the Fansies, the Lampsies, and the Dropsies in order to be able to make Battle Butler. Very, very important. If you do it wrong, you will lock yourself out of being able to make the Butler. Okay, so now it's going to be our opponent's turn. I'm just going to flip this to on, just so I can go ahead and do the play here. Oh, this has to be during the main phase, though. That is important to note, the Pandemonium there. So, yep, let's go ahead and show you then how to summon Battle Butler. Now, you want to activate Pandemonium as Chainlink 1, and you do have to do it specifically in this order. Pandemonium is Chainlink 1, and then Bow Wow Bark is Chainlink 2. Now, also very important, do not use the effect of Meow Meow Moo at this time. If you do, then it'll banish itself instead of the Bow Wow Bark being tributed, and we don't want that. We want to save the Meow Meow Moo for Battle Butler, so do not use the effect of Meow Meow Moo with Bow Wow Bark here. Click no. Very important to do that. And then we're going to return the Lampsies and the Dropsies in our hand. That's going to resolve as Chainlink 2. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Chainlinks resolve backwards, right? So, Bow Wow Bark resolves as Chainlink 2. That's going to return the Dropsies and the Lampsies to our hand. Now Pandemonium resolves as Chainlink 1. And now we can summon the Battle Butler using the Lampsies, the Dropsies, those two we added back, and then I know we have one in hand, but again, assuming we don't have this at all, then the Fansies we got at the end of the combo line on our turn. We can then summon the Battle Butler over here in defense mode. Good to summon in defense mode to play around Lightning Storm. And now, this is the coolest part. Unlike Revolt, where you just kind of end up with only the boss monster and some, searches, now we get to activate all three of these effects because we haven't done that yet this turn. We used all three of these as fusion materials for the summon of a Prank-Kids monster. So yeah, we can even, I don't know, it doesn't particularly matter here. We can just send place and summon. Actually, you know what, this doesn't matter a little bit. When you're summoning these three Prank-Kids monsters, it's a good idea to make two of them Dropsies. And the reason you would want to do that is so that next turn you have the option of beginning your turn by overlaying into Totally Awesome, which is an Omni Negate. So that way it'll act as like insurance for your plays on your turn. And on top of that, we get to activate Battle Butler's effect. Battle Butler lets you tribute itself to destroy all monsters your opponent controls. That's also not once per turn either. And we can banish Meow Meow Moo as a substitution for that tribute. So Battle Butler is a lot like Zeus in that it's also not even just not once per turn. It's not even once per chain. You can do this multiple times in a chain link, as you can see here. So Battle Butler is a lot like Zeus in that you get multiple board wipes. You can do them during the same chain link. And you can even, if you want to, pay the cost to tribute instead of banishing Meow Meow Moo. If your opponent you think your opponent has like effect negation or like a skill drain or something up, you can actually dodge that by tributing it. So, but obviously here we're just going to go ahead and destroy with the Meow Meow Moo. And so there you see like just how powerful. This is a one card combo, mind you. We did everything you saw just here with just that Dropsies at the start. So yeah, like now that it's our opponent's turn, I'll flip this back to auto. Yeah, now that it's our opponent's turn, because we got two Dropsies here, before we do anything else, we can just go ahead and immediately overlay into Totally Awesome, which again will act as an Omni Negate. And will protect all of our like plethora of plays that we have available during this turn. And also, not only do we negate the effect of the card, we set it to our board, and then when this card gets sent to the graveyard, we can return the Dropsies from our grave to our hand. So again, all this setup, all that advantage, and all this board setup was off of one card. Yeah, one of the many ways in which Prank-Kids is extremely powerful. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the next combo. Alright, so this next combo we're going to show you is a 2-card combo. This time I'm going to show you what you can do on turn 1 if you open any 2 Prank-Kids monsters with different names. Actually, it's funny we open Prank-Kids Place too, because that'll actually work too, because when you activate this, you can add a Prank-Kids monster from your deck to your hand. So, but let's assume we don't have the place, and that just we have only the Fansies and the Rocksies here. So, what we can do here is we'll start by normal summoning our Fansies. We'll then link into Meow Meow Moo, just like the start of the last combo here. Alright, and then of course we're going to want to activate our Fansies effect. Obviously we don't want to Ash our own Fansies there. This time it actually doesn't matter what spell you end up sending to the graveyard here. Or what card even, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to wheel it back, so... generally, if I don't know, I'd probably just send like a place here or something. Place is kind of my go-to, like if I don't have anything particular to send. It's generally not a good idea to send one of the monsters because we need as many of the Prank-Kids monsters in our deck to summon out of our deck as possible. We're going to use a Pandemonium later, so it doesn't really make sense to send one. We could send a Pranks to potentially add later. In fact, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. Again, it honestly doesn't matter what card you send here. And then, of course, we're going to definitely want to summon a monster to the field. Let's go ahead and summon Lampsies here. Alright, now that we have Lampsies and Meow Meow Moo on the board, we're going to then want to link summon into Dodo Doodle Doo. Like so. And now we will activate both Lampsies and Dodo Doodle Doo. We'll chain block, but we actually do need both effects to resolve here. And we're going to add the Pandemonium. This does matter. We definitely need to add Pandemonium with this Dodo Doodle Doo here. And then for the Lampsies, you're going to want to summon the last Prank Kid that you don't have in hand and that you haven't used. So we have a Rocksies in hand, so we're going to summon Dropsies specifically here. Alright, the next thing that we're going to want to do is activate the Prank-Kids Pandemonium. We're going to fusion summon for Rocket Ride. We're going to use the Dropsies and the last Prank Kids in our hand in order to do so. Now, very important that you do not block your Link zone here. I mean, it's obviously like always important to do that, but especially for this combo line, it's not going to work if you block this zone here. So we'll summon Rocket Ride and we'll just put it right over here. And now we get to activate both of our Prank Kids effects because we haven't activated either of these yet. So let's go ahead and do Dropsies. And then Rocksies, and then we even get to chain block with the Rocket Ride as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and just banish, sure, the place, why not? Doesn't really matter for the Rocksies here, it's not part of the combo. And then we're just going to summon 2 Prank Kids monsters to the field. Let's summon a Fansies and a Lampsies. I'm gonna leave the 2 Dropsies in deck to potentially get totally awesome later. Okay, now using these 2 Prank Kids monsters that we just summoned, we're then gonna go into Bow Wow Bark. Put Bow Wow Bark right over there. And now that we have the Link 2 Doodle Doodle Doo and the Link 2 Bow Wow Bark, we can go ahead and link those into Rip Roaring Roaster. And we can put that right there. Alright, now we can go ahead and activate the Rocket Ride. And we can use this to even bring back our Link monsters. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to bring back Doodle Doodle Doo and Bow Wow Bark. You are specifically going to want to bring those back. And since we're bringing them back, we don't have to put them under the Rip Roaring Roaster. It's nice to put the Bow Wow Bark pointing here. Well, not for this specific combo, but generally speaking, it's nice to have your Bow Wow Bark pointing to your other monsters for the attack buff if possible. But here it doesn't matter because we're just going to go ahead and activate the Doodle Doodle Doo's effect. And we're going to want to add back either Fansies, Lampsies, or Dropsies, and then Pandemonium. You're going to want to add one of these specifically because you are setting up a Battle Butler here. So let's add back a Fansies, sure. And then the Pandemonium. And now we can go ahead and set Pandemonium. And so now what this is set up a whole bunch of board wipes that we can do. Because as you can see, we have the Fansies in hand, we've got the Pandemonium and the Bow Wow Bark. So like we did in that last combo, we can chain link 1 Pandemonium, chain link 2 Bow Wow Bark, return the Lampsies and the Dropsies, fusion summon into Battle Butler, get our 3 Prank Kids monsters, and we have Meow Meow Moo engraved to potentially use Battle Butler twice, but we also got a Rip Roaring Roaster on the board turn 1 of this combo, which can be used to wipe out back row. So this is pretty nice. And if your opponent's playing like a super back row heavy deck, or just a deck that plays a lot of continuous spell and trap cards, you could even wipe their back row twice instead of their monsters twice with Battle Butler. You can use Meow Meow Moo to banish for Rip Roaring Roaster's effect, wipe their back row, and then do it again. Again, that would be highly matchup dependent. But it is still like a pretty useful thing that you could do. Against Eldritch, for example, if your opponent like sets a whole bunch of cards, you wipe them during the end phase, and then you can banish Meow Meow. I think this works. You can they'll do their effects to banish during the end phase, and then set more stuff, and then you can do Rip Roaring Roaster again, and then just wipe all their stuff. So that's pretty nice. But again, I'm pretty sure that works that way. But yep, so this is the board you can end on with, again, just any 2 different Prank Kids monsters names or a place in any Prank Kids monster. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the next combo. Okay, so for this line, I'm going to show you what you can do going second, like what a somewhat typical turn 2 board is going to look like. That's why I let my Dragon Army opponent here go first. So yeah, this is a fairly standard turn 2 play, and in order to do this play, you just need any 2 differently named Prank Kids monsters, or again, place in any Prank Kids monster would work here. So we're going to start off by actually doing the line of like the standard 1 card combo here for the first part, and I'll tell you where we branch off here. So we're going to start the same by normal summoning the Lampsies, going into Meow Meow Moo here. And then we're going to use the Lampsies effect, burn the opponent, and then summon a monster to the field. We're going to do Fansies next, right over here. And then now we're going to link summon Doodle Doodle Doo using Fansies and Meow Meow Moo. And then we're going to activate, of course, both Fansies and then Doodle Doodle Doo with the chain block, as we always tend to do. Alright, and then we're going to add Prank-Kids Pranks, again, just like we do for the one-card combo. For Fansies, I don't think it particularly matters here. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. We can just go ahead and send a Pandemonium. And then let's go ahead and summon a Dropsies. But now here is where the combo is going to diverge a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and activate our Prank-Kids Pranks. And then this is where our second Prank-Kids card comes in. We're going to discard it for Prank-Kids Pranks. And summon our Prank-Kids token. Now we're going to go ahead and link summon the Bow Wow Bark using the token and that extra Prank-Kids monster that we got. And we're going to go ahead and, of course, activate that last Prank-Kids effect there. And Rocksies is the last one we haven't used yet, so we'll put that there. Alright, and then now that we have the Doodle Doodle Doo link to and the Bow Wow Bark also a link to out, we get to link summon good old access code talker of all things. Use that as 2 materials, and that as 2 materials. And we'll put it right there. And of course, we'll go ahead and activate the access code talker effect. Oh, this isn't the banish effect. We'll just use Doodle Doodle Doo here. And then now that our opponent, since our opponent does have a face down monster, I usually just like to banish the Doodle Doodle Doo here. I guess actually it could be Bow Wow Bark. It really could be either way, honestly. It also just kind of depends on what's in your hand and what plays you think you'll be going for later. It could also even be Meow Meow Moo if you don't think you're going to summon... well, actually, it shouldn't be Meow Meow Moo because we are going to summon Battle Butler at the end of this turn, believe it or not. So we definitely actually want to leave that one. Let's just go ahead and banish Doodle Doodle Doo. It's fine. And we'll pop our opponent's face down monster. And then if our opponent had more cards to pop, we could send the Bow Wow Bark. And if they had another one we really wanted to hit, we could actually banish Meow Meow Moo if you really wanted to. So at this point, if you didn't have any other plays, like we had the place, so we actually might have been able to do other stuff. But again, let's assume this is a bricked card. So we don't have any other plays. Let's go ahead and then just enter battle phase. Smack our opponent for 4,300. And then now during the main phase 2, we get to link summon good old Vert Anaconda. It's kind of weird. It might seem kind of weird to use your access code talker as a material, but it is actually a good play here. Because we're going to go Vert Anaconda. And now, funnily enough, with this specific hand, we actually kind of have the nuts, because to continue the combo instead of Battle Butler, you would use Vert Anaconda to send a Thunder Dragon Fusion, and then you would use that to fuse into the Battle Butler. But since we actually have Thunder Dragon Fusion in this hand, we could, in theory, just activate it from hand and then use Vert to go into DPE. But, again, let's assume that we weren't super lucky, and let's assume we didn't have the Thunder Dragon Fusion in hand. You would activate Vert Anaconda's effect here, pay your 2,000, and then activate from your deck the effect of the Thunder Dragon Fusion. And then now we can summon the Battle Butler using the Lampsies, Fansies, and Dropsies that we have in our graveyard there. As always, we summon Battle Butler in defense mode to play around Lightning Storm. And then, like I mentioned, we also have the Meow Meow Moo in the graveyard. So then, now, not only have we popped our opponent's board with Access Code Talker and done a whole bunch of damage, but we now also have the double board wipe with the Battle Butler set up for next turn. So, yeah, that's a pretty standard turn 2 line that you'll often go into. But again, and I'll just show it off just because I can here. If you're actually opening the nuts like I did just there, and you have the Thunder Dragon Fusion, or if you just have the Fusion Dust in your hand, you could even tack on, the DPE in addition to this. I mean, this isn't really part of a combo line, right? This is just kind of generally true of decks in general now. If you can make DPE at the end, why not? But, yeah, that's pretty disgusting. That's pretty disgusting, I can't lie. Alright, let's see. I think I have one more line I'm going to try to show you here. Let's, I'll either move into that or move into something else here, just kind of depending. Well, you'll see after the cut. Okay guys, so there is one other kind of combo line that I did want to discuss, and it involves opening Instant Fusion and using Instant Fusion actually as a means of playing around Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom, you know, as anybody who's played this deck for just about any amount of time can tell you, you know, Ash Blossom is pretty detrimental to this deck, you know, being able to counter pretty much any of the Prank-Kids effects at any given time. Now, as always, you know, like, I would like to show you this ideally, you know, on the actual like solo menu screen there, but or solo dual mode screen there, but you know, unfortunately, I just wasn't able to get a hand with both Instant Fusion and the Prank-Kids. It's kind of irritating because I actually did open a hand where I finally opened the one Instant Fusion, but then I didn't draw Prank-Kids. And I like even passed a couple of turns to the AI just trying to draw any Prank-Kids monster, and I didn't. So got kind of unlucky there, but basically, it just kind of involves going into Doodle Doodle Doo first in order to chain block your Prank-Kids effects. So what you do is, you know, let's say you open Dropsies and Instant Fusion as your only live combo pieces, right? We normal summon Dropsies, activate Instant Fusion. You're going to want to grab Weather Washer because you typically don't use this to combo turn 1. This is more of like a sometimes you make this on turn 2 kind of a play. This is actually very useful for preventing yourself from you know, losing on turn 2, because the Prank-Kids it summons during your opponent's turn can't be destroyed by battle that turn. So that's pretty nice. But anyway, for this combo, you know, we summon Dropsies, Instant Fusion for Weather Washer. Yeah, Weather Washer here. Then you would immediately link both the Weather Washer and the Dropsies into Prank-Kids Doodle Doodle Doo. As we saw in other combos, at that point you can chain block the Doodle Doodle Doo and the, what do you call it, the Dropsies there. So you know, in that case, we would then go into Fansies with Dropsies. But if they decide to Ash a Doodle Doodle Doo, that's actually fine, because we can just send the Pandemonium with Fansies, and then we can use Doodle Doo to grab it back later, like we did in the other combo there. So then after, you know, summoning, let's say for sake of example that we go into Fansies with the Dropsies after summoning Doodle Doodle Doo, right? So then you would use Fansies to then go into Meow Meow Moo, doing that second instead of first. You basically just kind of do the steps in the opposite order there. You know, from there you can go into another Prank-Kids, and then you link some another Doodle Doo using, you know, then you would go into like example Lampsies after summoning the Meow Meow Moo. You can use the Lampsies and the Meow Meow Moo to go into another Doodle Doodle Doo, and then that's when you can use the Doodle Doodle Doo to wheel back, you know, the Pandemonium that you would send to the graveyard. Again, that's if you got ashed there. And actually, this keeps the board. This basically keeps the same kind of board state that we would have for like the like turn 1 or like the 1 card combo. But again, instead of using Instant Fusion as an extender, we're just using it as Ash Insurance basically instead. So again, I really would have liked to have shown that, because it's kind of hard to explain, especially with Prank-Kids combos, like the way that it works, you know, the way that they work. It's kind of hard, at least for me. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to personally visualize just based on reading it, or, you know, just often just hearing it. So again, I sorry, I would have liked to have shown you that, but just trying to open that one of Instant Fusion. I mean, I threw hands back for like 10 minutes. I just couldn't open it. But yeah, that's actually about gonna do it. I think I'll just move straight into the outro here. So I basically just wanted to show those like very, very basic Prank-Kids lines. It might not be like as many combos as we see normally in our combo guides, but really those core combos are just about all you need in order to get started with Prank-Kids. Like, if you can do the 1 or 2 card combo line, or if you can do this going second combo line, as long as you can do those, basically as long as you can just set up a Battle Butler with this deck, you're good to go, because Battle Butler is so good. It's like, you think DPE is good, how about a DPE that can get your opponent and can do it twice during your opponent's turn? Like, that's more or less what Battle Butler is. I mean, of course, we're also playing DPE on top of that, but one resource I do want to link here is, I'll go ahead and link, and maybe I should start doing this for future videos as well. And if I forget to do this, yell at me in the comments and I'll do it. I want to link the Master Duel Meta guide to Prank-Kids, because that's actually a really helpful resource in terms of like if you're looking for like a typed out list of these combos. I especially want to link that instant fusion combo because again, I feel like maybe just explaining it, I didn't do it justice. And I just want to make sure that you guys are fully, you fully understand. I did actually show that off in my deck profile that I did, again, either yesterday or a couple days ago, depending on when this video comes out. I did actually do the instant fusion 2-chain block Ash combo line in a duel, so feel free to check that video out if you want to see a visual example that I did. Again, I just couldn't get it throwing back hands in a timely manner for today's video, but alright, yep, I think that's just going to about do it for this one. So guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if there are other combo lines that you are aware of that I didn't cover here, or that, are maybe a bit more specific but very useful. I find it very helpful that when you guys chime in with stuff like that, because not only do you kind of like help me cover my bases that way, but it's like, you guys are kind of like helping each other out too in that way, right? Like just sharing information amongst each other, just kind of like as a community. I just really like the community that we've built up here, helping each other out, just helping everybody become a better competitive player. That's basically the goal of my channel, and it's just so awesome to see everybody in my comments section coming together for that. So thank you as always for watching, especially at the very end of the video like this. Thank you to those who are contributing there in the comments, and especially to those who are subscribing as well. But don't feel like you have to do that. As long as you're watching, that's honestly far more than enough for me. So yeah, without further ado, this is XLex signing out. Hope you guys have a fantastic day.